Hello, welcome to Pommy and Oz. If you're new around here, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe. A little bit later, obviously, with these uploads, so this should be a Thursday morning. So good morning. I hope you're doing really well. Power cut, and then I got power back about 4:35. Thought I'd sit down and record them just after dinner, and forgot to turn my mic on. So amazingly, I am incredibly peppy because I've downed 4 coffees to sow the seeds that were my tears. So thank you for joining me. If you're new, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Means the world to me. Can't thank you enough for the support. We are live tonight, live stream with Fazdog. We're going to be covering all the AFL. We're going to talk about the practice games, what we took out. We've got a little bit of engagement going on with you guys and girls as well. If you want to become a member of the channel, there's an incentive. You get to win a Guernsey. So it'll be capped at like $150, right? But you can win a Guernsey of your choice from any sporting team. I don't care. So that opens it up to us. If you want to do that, we have a members-only stream every month, and we do a giveaway. Try and give back to you guys and girls for just making my life a little bit better. And we're on with with Sydney Swans, not St Kilda. The runners-up last year. A lot talked about Sydney, isn't there? There's a lot of talk about will they do a GWS and an Adelaide, or will they come back? I don't know where I stand. I'm probably 70-30, and I think they'll be fine. They were my Smokies to win it last year. Nearly got so close, and they'll be hungry, I think, this year to go a step further. But without any further ado, let's get straight into the Sydney Swans side. And I think we start with probably one of the most underrated parts of their game, and that is their backline. And we've gone with Lloyd, Tom McCartin, and Dane Rampey. And this is just... like, everyone talks about Melbourne when they won the flag and how they played Petty, May, and Lever. But I think Sydney have been doing this for a long time in the way that they play football, with them like 3 taller guys, allowing them all to take turns in that intercepting role. McCartin, I really enjoy Tom. I know his brother gets a little bit more kudos, and he probably is more of the eye candy type player, but I think he's really solid, and he really does lock down and makes his full forward work to win the ball. Dane Rampey, just experience, isn't he? And he's real cool and casual. I love seeing him coming off the pocket. And I've gone Lloydie. Didn't get the kudos last year, did he? And he's in one of my fantasy teams, and he didn't score as well as he did. But I really love Lloyd, and I think he's just such a cool customer. And I've got him playing back pocket here, being that little penetrator. I think now the younger legs are there and the light leg speed. I think he's got that luxury now to take a little bit off it and be more invested in getting the easy touches. But I'm a huge fan of Jake Lloyd, and I think that back 3 there is fearsome. Do you know what I mean? You look at it, and when it's in front of your old goggles, you're like, oh, Jesus, that's pretty tasty. So I think there's intercepting there, there's strong one-on-one, and there's decent ball use there, and they can hurt you from down the back. Then we go to half-back line. I've gone with Ollie Florin and Blakey as my flankers. And Blakey, I hope he can stay fit this year and really get a good run at it, because I love everything he's about. Great engine, a beautiful kicking mechanic as well. It's great to see. I love how he takes that onboard kick into the corridor and really sets them up on transition. And I really liked Ollie Florin playing at halfback, and I suspect he'll rotate a little bit with Jakey, but absolute terrific footballer, and one that I'm really excited about seeing his development over the next 2 or 3 years as he goes into that transition from draftee senior to a senior player. I think that'd be interesting. And Paddy McCartin, we had a lot of good stories last year. We had Doc, we had Cunnington, do you know what I mean, getting the all clear, and he's back this year. We had Stengel. Paddy McCartin was a great one, wasn't it? Because, I mean, the poor bloke, we saw when he had to retire, him coming back, and not only coming back, but being stiff not to be in the All-Australian team for me. He was phenomenal. His marking was sensational. His read on the play was good. Maybe fell off towards the back half of the season, but what a story. And I'm a real big fan of Paddy. I'm a big, big fan. Go to the centre line then. I've got some excitement here. We got Stevens, who I think really showed last year how much talent they've got in the Sydney squad and how exciting it is. Runs hard both ways. Fierce competitor defensively, and gets the ball going forward at all costs. And Errol Golden, I expect to start on the wing and swing through half forward. A real talented footballer, and one of the guys I've got an earmark on really jumping this year and being fearsome. And Callum Mills needs no introduction, doesn't he? He's pure class personified, rarely uses it poorly. And I love to see how he finds space, particularly in traffic. And he causes havoc the way he manages to get such a clean kick. You saw it time and time again. I remember against Carlton, just how he's managed to be outside 60 out and get a kick through hands is unbelievable. But crafty footballer and one of them spacing and elevator type footballers who just seems to be able to find space wherever he is. I'm a big fan of Cal Mills. Big fan. Go to the half forward line. There's a lot of brand names here, but we'll start with the one that's the lesser brand name that I think needs to get more respect. Justin McInerney. I love how hard he works. And those who watch this show for a while know I love giving kudos to players who are good squad players, who set standards. And I think Justin McInerney, he's always that 6.5, 7 out of 10, giving output and doesn't have that often bad games. Will definitely allow Errol Goulding to float through that half-forward line. To a lesser extent, will maybe let Stevens float through there. But I really like him. I love how he sets himself defensively as well. If you watch him play, he gets in positions to make the tackle. You invariably don't see him running frantically to get there. He gets a good read on the play. Buddy needs no introduction. Probably one of the best key forwards of the last 10 years. Phenomenal scenes last year when he kicked his 1,000th. And terrific footballer. Really, really a benchmark player. And for players like Logan McDonald, Joe Amati and stuff, learning what a player to play in training week in, week out. And Isaac Heaney, what a footballer this kid is. This kid, game changer. And this is where you've got to look at their forward line and go, they can do damage because they've got Haywood, who we're going to talk about, McInerney, you can apply that pressure. Heaney, Buddy, Papley. They've got games that can change the game very quickly. You can kick goals in clusters. And it didn't quite get going for them in the granny. I think they'll be hungry. I think there's enough senior players here to keep them hungry. And there's a lot of goals. And when you look at this, Tom Papley, for me, pound for pound, the best player at what he does. Particularly when he comes high half forward. I think it's so hard to stop. No one really has a plan that they've mastered for it. And he's just so crafty and he's a big moment player. He does it when it counts as well, late in games. And he's deadly. And it pains me because we were so close. Logan McDonald, I've given the start. Now, caveat, Sam Reid, I do believe he's touch and go. So I've given him the week off just so we can talk about someone else. But Sam Reid probably would be in the starting 22 for round one. But Logan McDonald, really impressed with what we've seen of him so far. Got excellent mentors, like we say. Sam Reid has been there and done it as well. People will talk about Buddy. Sam Reid, though, teach you a thing or two about being available and playing, sustaining your career and maximising one's potential. And Will Haywood, just a strong ox hunter as well of the football. Always puts the pressure on as well. And a lot of people talk about, the pressure, tackles and things like that. You watch him when people get a kick. He's almost there. He's always in the peripheral. He always attacks as well from the kicker's side as well, making that angle a little bit harder. I'm a big fan of Will Haywood and his work rate, and I think it helps that forward line. Another player who doesn't get the kudos that we talk enough about, and that's Tom Hickey. Do you know what I mean? Was kind of the forgotten man at Eagles, even though he played an awful lot of games. And probably with Ladhams coming through, people thought he was going to be the forgotten man at Sydney. But time in, time again, he puts a shift in and just chugs along. Do you know what I mean? And chugs along nicely, in my opinion. I like what he does. I think he's a great standard. And if you're going to get into this 22 as a ruckman, you're going to have to beat an AFL standard ruckman, which I think is important. Always worry when the guy there is hit and miss. When it's someone like him who just chops in, chops out, makes it the junior ruckman earn his stripes. Lukey Parker and Chad Warner, who for me was one of the most improved players last year. Terrific footballer. Great centre of gravity. The way he turns in and out of trouble, can find his own ball, but also can damage you. Invariably makes the right decisions as well. I'm a huge fan of Chad, and I expect him to go one bigger this year. And I think he'll really become a feature of this side. And Luke Parker, Mr. Reliable. I'm a big fan of Luke Parker. Great service to the AFL career and still got a lot to give. And really is the glue that holds that midfield together. On the interchange bench, we've got Robbie Fox. Carlton fans will know I've talked about Foxy quite a bit because I loved him when he was forward in the tackle pressure. Now playing more of that lockdown defender role. I'm a big fan of it. And you saw Horse last year deploy him in game as that, which I think is very smart. And I wouldn't be surprised to see teams use these type of players as their subs. You know, people are always getting about the exciting ones. You would say a lot of AFL teams, Carlton, Collingwood, struggle to maintain a lead, albeit Collingwood won a few of them last year tight. It's definitely something that you might think, do I play an extra lockdown? Like a Robbie Fox. 10 minutes to go. Small forwards have killed both sides and a few sides in this. I like Fox. Goes about his role incredibly well. Very industrious. Peter Ladham's only there because Sam Reid's not there. I wasn't going to have him in there. Deserves the chance, though. He's adamant he's a ruckman. Time will tell, but I think he's got the perfect opportunity here to showcase that resting forward at Sydney while there is Sam Reid out and be the chop in the ruck for Hickey. I hope he does it because I think Ladham's is a solid footballer and time will tell. James Rowbottom. I feel sorry for midfielders in James Rowbottom's mold because they don't get kudos, but this guy is so tough, so advantageous in and around the ball. And I'm excited about seeing where it goes with another year in the system. I really like Rowbottom. He's a guy that I just think endless gut running, selfless football a lot, and a player that I'd imagine a lot of the players at Swans like playing with. And Jacob Constanti was in my team. I love this kid. I loved him at the draft. A pure goal kicker and only makes Sydney's strength a bit stronger. This kid can snag from anywhere, and I'm looking forward to seeing you release him. The ones to watch then, Braden Campbell, probably stiff to be in this side, but I love how Campbell goes. Tenacious little bull of a footballer. Good pace as well. I love how he uses the football as well. Always looks to do the right thing, play the percentages, not a huge risk taker, but at the same time can hurt opposition with his ball use. But I love his pressure around the ball. I'm a big fan of where he plays. We've seen him play up forward. We've seen him play in the down back as well, showing his versatility. I'm a big fan of Campbell with and without the football. Gus Sheldrick, by reports, torn it up. We've seen bits and pieces of him. Definitely got the turn of pace, and he's definitely got the vision to be an AFL footballer. Looks the type of player that I remember when he was at Claremont, undersized, right? But an animal. Horse will froth players like that. And he's a player that I think will get his chance very, very early in the piece. And one that we're really excited about seeing because it's going to be interesting. He's been in the system now a couple of years, but we know WA players, that they're no mugs. And I thought last year, only the handful of games, 2 games, did enough for me to show that with a little bit of size, he could be a little bit dangerous. You didn't quite see the best of him. Will Gould, a man that has been in the AFL system what feels like 30 years. Definitely got to get his opportunity. It's now or never. We know he's that awkward size player. Reports are he's been training well. I think there's an opportunity there. Dane Rampy isn't getting much younger. Sands of time are ticking. It's now or never, Will, but he's one that I'm going to keep my eye on. And Joe Amati, I love this kid. Played again just a few games last year. I think it was 7. Learning from one of the best in the business. Got Sam Reid's model. Definitely that ruck option as well. I like this kid. Good movement. Real quick speed. Leading on the mark. Someone that I'm a big fan of, and I can't wait to see. But that is my Sydney 22 and ones to watch. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Enjoy yourself. Come and tune in tonight, 8:30. Me and Faz will take you through the week that was football, preview some games. Let me know. See you then.